One of the reasons Vance was brought on this ticket is to appeal to Midwestern voters in key battleground states. Listen to how many times each of these states are mentioned in the excerpts we got.
You can see behind me, this is just one example of the security lines here, and they really snake through not only baggage claim. At one point, they were pre-staging people with TSA pre-check outside.
I checked in with a Trump campaign staffer, and I said, any initial thoughts, any initial takeaways as you're watching the early data? And they flagged for me that there's some exit polling in the battleground state of Georgia.
Of all the attractions here at the fair, the one that got the most attention was Trump. His growing legal troubles act as both a draw and a curse to his campaign.
The shooting happened just a couple of blocks behind me, and it happened right near a metro stop that I walk by at least 2 times a day.
They're expanding the security perimeter.
And some of them, it took them days to get to this point, and we're only 3 hours from the Ukraine border. Secretary of State Marco Rubio walked through and was peppered with questions about whether or not the U.S. military is going to conduct strikes on Iran. Unsurprisingly, he did not respond. It was just odd that the president made this speech, then decided to clear this street, walk over to the church, stay there for a couple of minutes, and then walk back. And the president today is heading over there. He's going to spend a couple of hours there and allegedly get a tour as well as participate in a board meeting. I can't emphasize enough how unusual this is. Within the last 3 minutes, Tim Ryan, the Democratic nominee, just put out his first attack ad against J.D. Vance. It happens to start with a clip from an interview I did with Vance earlier this year.
There was a point where several dozen House members came through this hallway and were escorted to a secure location. They had been on the House floor.
And now the Vance campaign will no longer have this fundraiser on Saturday after we asked them about it. And the attack that happened here at the Capitol just 2 weeks ago today has really changed how this inauguration day is going to play out.
And a big theme of this task force has been allowing law enforcement to do their job and holding accountable people who go after law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have...
Mr. President, with the rail funding in California, will your recent dust-ups with Governor Newsom impact additional wildfire relief out there? The governor, the Republican mayor of Springfield, local and state police have all said they have no evidence that people's pets or local geese have been eaten. What are you basing those continued claims off of if they are saying they don't exist?
Well, Taylor, I said from the very beginning...
What's your message to folks right now who are worried about both the president's age and his ability to serve for another 4 years?
What steps is the Trump administration taking to address that conflict of interest?
Yes, Secretary Kennedy has talked about the effectiveness of the measles vaccine. He's also reiterated it's a personal choice. Do you think that is contributing to these outbreaks?
Will that influence at all who you vote for in November? On January 6th, did you speak with him before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked?
I'd have to go.
If you end up deciding not to comply, do you worry that it could undermine your credibility if you become chair of the Judiciary Committee next year?
No.
Could you see yourself, especially at this stage in your life, as an executive?
I don't know. I haven't thought it through yet.
Okay.
You can ask that question 12 different ways. I'm going to give you the same answer,
I know.
Taylor. Nice try. You're doing your job. You're good at it. You've done this before.
But Colorado is going to vote for me because I am going to make Colorado safe again.
Former President Trump told thousands gathered here in Aurora that their community was being invaded, infested, and conquered by migrants.
And we have to live with these animals. But we're not going to live with them for long. You watch.
Aurora's Republican mayor, Mike Kaufman, did not attend Friday's rally. He said in a statement, the reality is that the concerns about Venezuelan gang activity have been grossly exaggerated, and he offered to brief Trump privately. Some of the Trump supporters who lined up for the rally told us they appreciated his visit and were upset the mayor didn't show.
He said he's not going to be on the stage with Trump. That's fine. But that tells us where you stand.
If you live here, I've lived here for 25 years plus, and downtown is horrible. Aurora is absolutely horrible. It's actually a lot worse than what they're saying on TV.
Does it feel like Trump coming here could help the situation, or is it more like a pouring gas on a fire type thing?
I think it could go either way, but I'm really glad he came.
Colorado Democrats called Trump out for holding his rally at a resort on the edge of Aurora and doubling down on the false and exaggerated claims.
What Donald Trump is doing is victimizing some of the most vulnerable people in our community.
On Thursday, we went to the now closed apartment building that was the site of a shooting in July that led to the arrest of 4 men police say have ties to the gang. Neighbors told us off camera things have improved since the city shut the building down. We also went to the apartment building where a viral video of men with guns took place in August. It was quiet, and we noticed police nearby.
Up the road, we met Denise Taylor, who has lived here for 13 years.
There was a problem, but it has gotten better around here.
It was a problem, but the policemen and the governor, they straightened it out.
She feels Trump came strictly for political purposes and is planning to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
I would just tell Trump that, you know what, you really need to be ashamed of yourself.
Trump has also promised to visit Springfield, Ohio, a community that has dealt with dozens of bomb threats after Trump amplified what local and state officials say are false claims that Haitian migrants there were eating people's pets. Immigration remains a top talking point for Trump in the final weeks of this campaign. Reporting in Aurora, Colorado, Taylor Popielarz, Spectrum News.